The wheatfield was the kind that stretched so far it disappeared into heat-warped haze, golden waves trembling under the midday sun. Wind whispered through the stalks with a voice almost too articulate for nature, like something imitating wind, something pretending to be the earth itself. Denton came to the farm to be alone. He told himself it was to work, to help his estranged uncle with the summer harvest. But he had no uncle. The farmhouse had stood empty for years, and the letters with the invitation, written in looping, jittering penmanship, had no return address. Still, something in them compelled him to come. The house was old. Nails jutted from warped wood like claws. The porch sagged with the weight of time and secrets. In the attic, he found journals wrapped in yellowing twine, the covers crusted with mold and dust. The entries started mundane, then unraveled into mad geometry, talking about grain maps and the seam in the stalks. Each night, Denton dreamt of the field, not walking through it, falling into it. The stalks rose high as trees, knotted and moving in patterns, as though forming spirals, mazes. In those dreams, he was never alone. Something watched from the knots, from the points where light bent wrong. On the seventh night, he followed the sound. It was a low-frequency thrumming, almost too deep to hear, felt more in the ribs than the ears. It came from the field's center, or what he thought was the center. The field shifted. Paths changed. He stepped between the stalks and they closed behind him. Denton walked for hours. The sun never moved. He no longer knew direction. The sky became the same pale brass as the grain. That was when he found the first of the others. It looked human from a distance. Closer, it shimmered wrong. Its outline pulsed, flickering like candlelight. Its skin had the texture of scalded bark. Eyes, if those were eyes, were too far apart, and where its mouth should have been, the flesh quivered like paper on fire. It didn't speak. It simply turned and walked, and Denton followed. The path became precise, unnaturally so. The stalks aligned at sharp angles, perfect intersections, geometric gates formed by the tops of the plants. Through these gates, reality seemed thinner, as if painted on cloth stretched tight. He saw through them to other skies, other suns. One gate led to a beach made of bones where the tide was a slurry of teeth. Another to a forest with trees whose leaves whispered names Denton had never spoken, but somehow remembered. He passed through none. Not yet. The creature led him to the heart. It wasn't a place, but a thing. Pulsed a structure. Alive, but not animal. Rooted, but not plant. It was a lattice of sinew and light, a spine grown from the earth, humming with the same frequency he had felt in his ribs. There were more of them, others. They knelt before the heart, placing offerings, fingernails, teeth, strands of hair, drawings scratched into skin. They moved with religious devotion, reverence. The heart pulsed brighter as Denton approached, and it spoke. Not in words, in meaning. It offered him something, a sight beyond the field, a place beyond the seams, a crossing. He agreed. The others descended on him. They didn't harm, but they changed. Their touch altered the shape of him, pulled thoughts from his head, and folded them into new geometry. He screamed, but his voice came out as color, twisting into the air and splitting into fractals. When he opened his eyes, he saw it. The seam. Not a line, but a fold. Reality bent there, turning inward like a wound, healing wrong. He stepped through. The world on the other side had no horizon. It curved in all directions, a globe of flesh and architecture. towers grew like tumors from living ground. The sky was not above but around, and in it floated islands made of dead languages and forgotten sounds. He was not alone. Other traversers walked these lands, their forms bent by their passage. Some wept backwards, some bled words instead of blood. Time here wasn't sequential. He met himself, older, afraid, missing an eye. Then younger, laughing with teeth too many to count. They warned him, do not stay long. The place fed on permanence. He found a mirror, shattered, sunken into the meat of a wall. In its fragments, he saw the field again, the farmhouse, the journals, all still there. The seam was still open, but only just. He ran. The ground pulled at his feet. Memories tried to anchor him. He dropped offerings to lighten himself. His name, his memories of warmth, his idea of home. He passed creatures that did not acknowledge him, vast floating polyhedral things that radiated noise like magnetism. One of them turned its entire surface toward him, and Denton felt his body split, his awareness stretching into latticework before snapping back. He fled. The return was not clean. He burst through the seam with a scream lodged in his mind, but not his throat. The field took him back, but reluctantly, as if weighing his worth. His clothes were tattered, his skin glowing faintly with bioluminescent lines. The heart was quiet. It was dusk. The sky a shade of indigo he had no word for. The house was whole, clean, freshly painted. Smoke curled from the chimney. A man stood on the porch. He looked like Denton, but wasn't. The man smiled with too many teeth. "Welcome home," he said, and Denton understood. He hadn't returned. He'd brought it back. He lives in the house now, or something in his shape does. Visitors come rarely. Those who do leave quickly, disturbed by the quiet, the too clean windows, the strange humming from the fields. The wheat grows tall out of season. The paths inside shift. Some say they've seen lights in the center at night. Others hear voices, low and overlapping, repeating something just beyond understanding. Denton, or the thing wearing Denton, writes in journals now. Drawings of impossible architecture, notes in languages only dreamt of, maps that spiral endlessly. Sometimes it speaks in its sleep. Once, a visitor stayed overnight, a historian researching local myths. She found more than she wanted, a door in the cellar that hadn't been there before. Beyond it, stairs carved from petrified bone. She descended and never returned. The sheriff who investigated disappeared for 5 days. When he came back, he claimed nothing had been out of place. But he was different, quiet, pale. He retired that year and now spends his days drawing spirals in a notebook and staring at the field from his porch. In the town's museum, there's a painting that no one claims to have made. It appeared in the storage room one morning. A landscape of the farm, rendered in maddening fractal precision. If you look closely, the field moves. The shadows shift. Denton's reflection can be seen in every window.